Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something really fascinating, Josie Gibson's reported weight loss journey.
Yeah, it's been talked about a lot, hasn't it?
Absolutely. So we fed a massive amount of public data. I'm talking over 2,000 interviews, social media posts, even, all those fan theories into Google's AI Notebook LM.
Right. The goal was to get past just the headlines.
Exactly. Our mission, really, is to understand the core elements of her approach, based on what the AI could piece together from all that information. And maybe, just maybe, find some useful insights for you along the way.
We're trying to use the data to see the patterns, what you actually say and do consistently. Should be interesting.
Okay, so quick refresher for anyone who needs it. Josie Gibson, she shot to fame winning Big Brother UK, way back in 2010?
That's the one.
Yeah.
And she's built a solid TV presenting career since then. Became a really familiar face.
Yeah, and for a long time, her image was very much, comfortable in her skin, confident, which is great, obviously.
Yeah, totally. But then, around 2023, things seemed to shift, and her reported weight loss became a big topic.
It really did capture a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So that's where our deep dive kind of kicks off. What might have triggered this change?
Well, digging into earlier interviews, the AI picked up on a few subtle hints. Things like potential prediabetes risks being mentioned, maybe some feelings of energy slumps.
Right, and there was that quote from a 2022 ITV interview, wasn't there? Something about self-love.
Yes, exactly. She said, I needed to love myself first. Which really suggests, it wasn't just about the physical side. There was likely a big mental and emotional piece to this puzzle.
That's such an important point. It often is, isn't it?
Definitely. And the public reaction was, well, varied. Lots of support, but also a lot of online chatter.
Oh, the Ozempic theories were flying, weren't they?
They really were. Though Josie consistently denied using it, saying it was down to lifestyle changes.
And the media, of course, had a bit of a field day with the before and afters. Josie herself seemed to keep things pretty positive on her socials, though.
Yeah, but with all that noise, it's hard to see clearly, which is why we turned to Notebook LM. We fed it over 500 of her Instagram posts, like 100 plus interviews, loads of Reddit threads.
Wow, that's a lot of data.
It is. And we told it to focus on keywords, Josie Gibson diet, exercise routine, weight loss tips, that kind of thing.
So you're essentially asking the AI to find the recurring themes, the patterns in how she talked about health.
Exactly. To see what pops up again and again in her own words and reported actions across all those different sources, things a human might miss just scanning through.
Okay, let's get to it then. What did our AI detective find? What were these consistent strategies?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Notebook LM basically flagged 3 core pillars that kept showing up. The first one is maybe a bit surprising. The AI called it, cheat days are mandatory.
Mandatory. Okay, that's not what you usually hear. What's the thinking there?
The AI saw this really consistent pattern, suggesting something like an 80-20 approach. So maybe 5 days of, let's call it clean eating, followed pretty regularly by 2 more flexible days.
Huh. That actually sounds familiar. Didn't fans notice stuff like that? I remember seeing comments.
Exactly. The AI even flagged how often people commented on things like, oh, there's her Friday Nando's post again.
Yeah.
It suggests these weren't just random splurges, but almost like a scheduled part of her routine.
Right. Which I guess makes sense for sticking with something long-term. Avoids that feeling of total deprivation.
Precisely. From a behavioral standpoint, that planned flexibility can be key. Okay, so the second pillar the AI identified, it termed it invisible exercise.
Invisible exercise. Intriguing. What does that mean? Not hitting the gym hardcore.
Seems like it. While she didn't post loads about intense workouts, the AI kept highlighting words like walking, gardening, even dancing with sun in her posts and interviews.
Ah, okay. So more about just weaving movement into everyday life.
Exactly that. Less about structured gym sessions, more about just being active consistently throughout the day.
That makes a lot of sense, especially for busy people. What kind of impact could that actually have, though? Just, walking and gardening.
Well, the AI did a rough estimate. If you consistently hit something like 10,000 steps a day, that could burn around 500 calories.
Okay.
And over a week, that adds up. Potentially, it could contribute to losing about a pound a week just from that consistent moderate movement. It's the accumulation.
Wow. Okay. So consistent movement, not necessarily intense. Got it. What was the third piece the AI found?
The third one is really interesting, the sleep first mindset. Notebook LM found mentions of aiming for a 9 p.m. bedtime in like 73% of the relevant captions and interviews it analyzed.
9 p.m., that's quite specific. And it came up that often.
Yeah, remarkably often. And what's more, those mentions were often strongly linked with her using words like energy and willpower.
So the AI is drawing a connection between her talking about early nights and feeling more energetic or motivated?
It seems that way, and it lines up with the science, you know. Sleep massively impacts our hunger hormones, leptin, which says I'm full, and ghrelin, which says I'm hungry.
Right, I've heard about that.
Some studies suggest getting that sweet spot, like 7 to 9 hours of sleep, can lead to maybe 20% fewer cravings. That's huge when you're trying to manage your intake.
Definitely. Okay, so we've got flexible eating, this invisible exercise, and making sleep a real priority. That paints a much more balanced picture than you often get.
It does, doesn't it? It feels more sustainable, maybe.
Yeah. But what about the controversies? Did the AI shed any light on those, like the Ozempic stuff?
It looked specifically at that. And while, yeah, it found loads of speculation, about 38% of the Reddit comments it scanned were guessing about drug use. The AI found zero evidence in Josie's own data.
Nothing in her posts, hashtags, interviews.
Nope. No pharmacy hashtags linked to it, no direct mentions, nothing concrete the AI could latch onto from her side. So it seems like mostly external speculation.
Okay, that's good to clarify. Were there any other sort of red flags the AI picked up?
Well, it did flag a period back in 2021, found about 12 Instagram posts, which have apparently since been deleted, promoting those detox teas.
Ah, the detox teas.
Right, yeah. You know, those products often make pretty wild claims. It seems like it was maybe a shorter-term thing she promoted.
Fair enough. So the AI gives us this picture of her recorded strategy, pillars and all. But what about the real world? Did people who try to follow her lead actually see results?
That's a crucial question. So Notebook LM also did sentiment analysis on over 1,000 comments from her followers across different platforms.
And what did that show? Was it all positive?
It was definitely mixed, but with some really interesting patterns. About 52% reported positive experiences, actual success stories.
Like what? Any examples?
Yeah, there was one user on Twitter the AI highlighted who said they lost 18 pounds in 3 months, basically just by copying her focus on daily walking.
Wow, okay. Just from the walking focus.
Seems so, for that person anyway. But then about 30% expressed frustration, people saying, you know, I'm trying to do what she does, but it's not working for me. One commenter even said they'd gained weight.
Right, that happens too. And the rest.
The remaining 18% were pretty skeptical. Comments suggesting she must have hidden help, like personal chefs or trainers, resources the average person just doesn't have access to.
Okay. A real mix then. Did the AI give any clues about why some people succeeded and others struggled, even if they thought they were following the same plan?
It did point towards something quite significant. There were really strong correlation, like 88%, between the followers who reported success and those who also specifically mentioned prioritizing sleep.
Sleep again. So that sleep first pillar seems genuinely critical, not just for her, but for people trying a similar approach.
It really looks that way, based on this analysis. It was a major differentiator between the success stories and the frustrations.
And what about the people who didn't get results? Any common themes there?
Yeah, the AI suggested links to a couple of things. One was inconsistency with the flexible eating. Maybe people were too strict, skipped the cheat days, and then ended up in binge cycles.
Okay, so not embracing the flexibility properly.
Potentially. And the other thing was inconsistent step counts. They weren't managing to hit that regular invisible exercise target day in, day out.
So it really emphasizes needing all three pillars working together consistently. Okay, what about the professionals? What did nutritionists or fitness coaches make of this AI-analyzed approach?
We looked at some expert commentary. A nutritionist, Dr. Rachel Lee, generally thought the 80-20 eating style was pretty smart, quite sustainable for many.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Well, she did add that just aiming for 10,000 steps might not be enough activity for everyone. Needs vary based on age, fitness level, health goals, you know.
True. Good point. What about from a fitness perspective?
A fitness coach, Tom, suggested this kind of approach integrating movement. Flexible eating probably works well for busy people, like parents who maybe can't or don't want to commit to intense gym routines.
Makes sense.
But he also warned against comparing yourself directly. Everyone's metabolism and starting point is different, right? And he noted this style might not be challenging enough if you have specific athletic goals.
Right. Not for marathon training, perhaps?
Probably not.
Okay, so considering everything, the AI findings, the fan results, the expert takes, who does this kind of approach seem best suited for?
It seems like a good fit for maybe people who dislike really strict diets, the anti-dieters perhaps. Also busy folks, parents juggling schedules, and anyone who prefers a slower, steadier approach to well-being over quick fixes.
And who should probably look elsewhere?
Probably those seeking really fast results, or people who genuinely enjoy and thrive on more intense, structured gym workouts. This might feel a bit too low-key or slow for them.
Okay, so the big takeaway then. Based on this whole AI deep dive, could Josie Gibson's reported method be a realistic plan for, the average person?
The analysis suggests it could be a pretty sustainable blueprint. The key seems to be really nailing that sleep aspect and also not getting obsessed with the scale. It's more about building those consistent, gentle habits.
Right, it's less about extremes. So wrapping this up, our AI analysis points to Josie's reported transformation not being about, crazy restrictions or killer workouts. It looks more like a blend of flexible eating those mandatory treat days, consistent invisible exercise woven into life, and really, really prioritizing sleep.
A holistic approach focused on manageable, sustainable habits.
Yeah.
Seems to be the core message coming from the data.
Okay, so here's something for you, listening, to think about. You've heard the AI breakdown. Now, even if weight loss isn't your main goal, think about this. What if you just focused on one of these pillars?
Yeah, like maybe just making a conscious effort to move a bit more each day, or aiming for a more regular bedtime.
Exactly. How might just incorporating one of those things impact your overall well-being? It's not about copying Josie perfectly, but maybe using these data-driven insights as inspiration for your own small, sustainable changes.
Food for thought, definitely. The journey of figuring out what works for you is always ongoing.
It certainly is. Thanks for diving deep with us today.